Okay, it looks like we're recording. Well, hello everyone. Thank you all so much for allowing us to join you today. It's an absolute privilege to get to be here and wonderful to see all your smiling faces this Saturday morning. Wanted to extend a special thanks to Mr. Green for linking us up with ACTS and for making this introduction. We're really grateful to you and to all of you for letting us share some of your time this morning. I'm going to go ahead and share my slides to help give us a little visual as we chat with you all. But again, please do feel free to come off of mute if there are any questions that come up, or we can address any at the end as well. So as was mentioned, this is the Better Together Dementia Care Study. Thank you for that introduction, Sharon, and for launching us into this, Kimberly. We all need a good zoomologist in our lives. So we are a study that's come together to look at dementia and specifically caregiving for dementia. Just one little note on terminology, on the language that we use. We sometimes talk about caregivers. We sometimes talk about care partners. For a long time, the fields used the term caregiver, but a lot of people feel that care partner is more appropriate because it really demonstrates the partnership, right, between the person providing care and the person receiving care. So we're trying to use the term care partner, but if we slip back into caregiver, please do forgive us. So we'll be switching off a bit between myself and Liz and Maria as we go through, but I will jump in and get us going just with a quick overview of what we're going to be talking to you about this morning. So intros, we'll tell you who we are first. We'll talk a little bit about the importance of research from our perspectives, talk a little bit about the gap in the research, a bit of what we're trying to do with our study, and also a big part of why we're here today talking to you all, and how we're hoping to take a step toward closing that gap, how important we think that is, and then a bit about how you can help at the end. So it's a little bit of information, a little bit of just chatting with you about our study, but happy to answer any questions if and as they come up. So to start with introductions, my name is Zach. The last name is pronounced Kasumis, but please feel free to just call me Zach. The long Greek name is it throws everybody. I am an assistant professor of family medicine and gerontology at the University of Southern California. My background is in gerontology, so in aging. I've done a lot of work over the years in caregiving, economic security, population disparities, all sorts of fun stuff. And I'm really excited at this point to be working on this study, which we'll be telling you a bit more about. So I'll turn it over to Maria to introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Maria Madrigal, but I can also I go by Maria. I have been working on this project for a year now. It's been a year. I have 10-year experience in working in research in the research field in different projects, and I am very happy to be here today with you guys.
And Liz?
Good morning, I'm Liz Avent. Of course, you can call me Liz. I'm the research assistant and currently a PhD student at USC. I do my research background in caregiving relationships, and looking at conflict and tension within caregiving. I think that's pretty much covers it.
Thank you so much, Liz and Maria. So now you know a bit about who we are. What the heck are we doing? We're doing research, but why? What's the importance of research? What's the value of doing this thing that we call research? So research is really about the process of listening and learning. You know, we all know we're all experts in what we do. You know, everyone who's spent a day, a week, a month, their lifetime providing care is they know more about providing care than the vast majority of the people I talk to in the academic world. But it's really important for us to be able to really capture that information, capture that expertise from the doing of caregiving, and bring that back to the policymakers, to academia, so that we can really build knowledge and take the information, take the experiences, that caregivers on the ground are experiencing and are knowing, are realizing in that process of caregiving. Make sure that that information and that knowledge reaches the people who are making decisions about funding, about what kind of resources can be made available to caregivers, about really working to advance the health of caregivers, all these issues. It's really crucial for us to be on the ground here and do our research, listen and learn from the perspective of the people who we talk to so that we can pass that information up. The aim is to really to aid practice, to inform practice through helping to understand and implement the knowledge that we gain from the research. And then our hope is really that it results in some change, that there's some real benefits through the policies that I talked about, the funding, the resources, through information, through whatever it may be, things that really can be circled back and help the field, help the people who are on the ground, really developing and generating the knowledge, experiencing the experience of being a caregiver, helping to ensure that we're able to have a full circle to achieve some benefit and to bring back some benefit to the communities that we're talking to and the communities that are sharing with us their experience, their wisdom from the oftentimes many years of caregiving that they've been doing. So I will turn it over to Liz to talk about our gaps in the research.
So although there's been lots of research on caregiving and dementia, and looking at Alzheimer's disease. And one of the big gaps that we have is that a lot of research tends to include mostly white caregivers, white people with dementia. So we want to, particularly for this study, to have a big diverse pool of caregivers, and specifically we have an underrepresentation of Black and African American caregivers and people with dementia. And so we want to get information from people like you, because we know that as our older population becomes more diverse and this increase of dementia, they have more diverse needs, and we know that people tend to use their culture and their religion to get them through caregiving or coping, and have different experiences based on their cultural and religious backgrounds. And so we are really trying to get more Black caregivers and more people that are caring for Black people with dementia to get their experience. So we want to hear from you and want to just hear definitely about whatever you want to share with us for your experiences. And we also know that dementia progresses, and so over time the caregiving experience change, and we want to get all the information over a certain amount of time instead of just interviewing you once and just getting this one snapshot. So that 6 months down the road there may be something completely different that you're experiencing that we would like to know. So we want to know also how your relationship with your care partner progresses and how it changes or stays the same, how you handle challenges and how that changes or stays the same over time. So this is one of the big things that we want to be able to capture in our research and be able to go back and share and put out there, to have more resources, policies developed that actually address these diverse needs, and not just for one particular population with one experience. We don't want something more than the one fits all.
Thank you, Liz. Yeah, it's a challenge. So I mentioned I'm Greek. I come from a family of Greek immigrants, and when I see the research that's just based in one life experience, which we've seen for a long time, because for a long time the U.S. population was so majority white, but that's changing, and seeing kind of the practices and policies and approaches based on one very narrow cultural idea, I think it's challenging for a lot of us in the field. So we're really wanting to make sure that research as we go forward is really encompassing more of our experiences, more of our identities, more of our perspectives. So we're really excited about that. And yeah, as Liz said, things change over time. Just kind of jumping in and getting kind of one snapshot of what people are doing and how people are doing that's great, but we know that there are shifts, especially with dementia. Things change every day, things change every minute sometimes. So we really want to make sure that we are coming in and talking to people over an extended period of time, not just kind of jumping in and then jumping back out. So I've been hinting a bit about what we're doing, about the study, all of that. Let's actually talk a bit more about what specifically we are working towards. So the purpose here, actually bear with me just 1 second to move these videos so I can actually read what's on the screen. There we go. The purpose here, the purpose of the study that we're doing, the Better Together Dementia Care Study, is to really improve our understanding of the relationship dynamics that are present in dementia caregiving. So what's going on in those relationships, just as Liz was talking about. We are very mindful of the positive aspects, but also the more challenging interactions between people living with dementia and their care partners. So I co-lead the study with an amazing geriatrician named Dr. Mosqueda here at USC. I was listening to her give a presentation the other day, and she was talking about how when people and when caregivers, care partners, and the person who they care for come into her practice, she used to ask them how long, let's say it's a spousal caregiver, used to ask them how long they've been married, and they would say 40, 50 years. And she used to say, oh, great, that's wonderful. She learned that that's not always appropriate. So she's kind of modified the way that she approaches those interactions. And now when people come in, they say, oh yeah, we've been married 40, 50 years. She says, okay, and how is that? Sometimes they say, oh, it's wonderful. Sometimes they say 50 miserable years of marriage. So, we know there's a wide range of experiences, and we want to make sure that we're setting the study up to capture both aspects. We are hoping that the impact that our study can have through the research, as I talked about before with that loop, is that we hope to be able to inform the creation of tools that can increase the positive caregiving interactions and also reduce the negative health impacts of caregiving situations. I think most of us know, most of us have seen caregivers who have very significant challenges as a result of their caregiving. Actually, you might see me squirming around in my chair a bit today. I lifted something wrong yesterday and tweaked my back a little bit. And I know that's an experience that a lot of caregivers can relate to, right? Because the physical demands, the emotional, psychological demands are just really high. So we are hoping to be able to improve information that can help reduce some of those negative impacts on caregivers and within the caregiving situation. So that's the overall purpose of our study. Participants, we're asking a few key things of the participants. During interactions with us, we would go through a process to make sure that you agree to participate. We would want to meet with our participants, the people who agree to talk to us, once every 6 months, up to 4 times. Those meetings they can be done either in person or virtually. So either we'll come to your house or a place that works for you, or we can do it over Zoom, really whatever is most convenient. It tends to take about 1 to 2 hours per participant. So about 1 to 2 hours of chatting between you and us. And really the key thing for us is that the people who are willing to join our study and share their experiences with us are able to just do that, to be willing to share their experiences openly and honestly about the various aspects of providing care or receiving care. I didn't actually mention this before, but we are talking not just to the care partners, but also to the people with dementia whenever we're able to. It's not a requirement. We know that in some cases, dementia makes it so that we're not able to ask the questions that we have of the people that you all are caring for. But whenever possible, we do like to speak with them as well to ensure that we're capturing all the voices present at the table. So with that, I'll turn it over to Maria to talk a little bit more about some of the details.
So who's eligible? So for the person that is living with dementia, we ask that they are 65 years of age or older, that they are diagnosed with the form of dementia. As we know, like dementia is an umbrella for different types memory um, issues, living in Southern California, and is able to communicate either in English or in Spanish. And for the care partner, we ask that they are, it's not in here, but that they're 18 years of age or older. So we will ID you, um, provide substantial care to the person that is living with dementia, contact that you have contact with the person at least twice a week. So you don't necessarily need to live with them, but do have substantial contact where you are providing care for them, and also are able to communicate in English or in Spanish. So how will you benefit? So there's really no direct benefit to you. However, you will be helping others in the future. Some participants also say that they feel better after speaking with us. They're able to process some of their feelings. You will be compensated for your participation. We do give you a $25 debit card for each person that is interviewed every 6 months, and it is up to $100. We will share some of our findings of the study with you once the study has ended. So, and we will share some resources that we have as well. And I also wanted at this time to invite, and first of all, thank and invite Mr. Winston Green, if he would like to say some words regarding his participation in the study. Sure. Is Mr. Green here? Oh, you're muted. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't know what to share. There's just so much, and I don't want to just go on and on. But yes, I have been part of this study. It is very interesting. I didn't know in the beginning what it was really all about, but I have been connected with USC, and they have been a vital care and information going way back. And I think most of you know that's here. I've been caregiving for my wife of 66 years for the last 12 years. And she's sitting right here. And I'll show you her a little later. But I find so far that I have learned a lot. There was a lot of questions that were asked that was pertinent. But my judgment is if I could help anyone that's along this journey, whether they've been in it for a year or two, like when we first started 12 years ago, or now 12 years, because there's a lot that if I just sit back and listen to others without going in there like a bull in the china closet with saying, oh, I've done this, I've done that, blah, 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 blah. That's not what Winston Green is about. And so this has been very welcoming. And what it's done for me is to teach me how to be more calm and not let this disease that Pansy has take over me, that I'm not able to function. I mean, I'm 85 years old, but that age means nothing when you're in it to win it. And so as far as being in this form of USC, I find it very rewarding. And most of you guys know me. I've said that twice, but it's all good. And I think what makes it more interesting, because through the years, I've been through a few support groups. I've cut down because being in too many, too much, it ain't good, not conducive to me. But I think in saying that, it teaches me that I have got to take care of Winston Green. If the caregiver goes down, we have a damn problem. Okay, so I just say it, and they've heard me say it before. I don't take it a minute at a time, an hour at a time. I take it a second at a time. And that's what helps me maintain. So I am glad to be on this with you. Glad to take part. USC, I will say, not just because you're on here, have been a godsend.
Thank you.
Because like I say, I've been here. There were times along the way back, that there was funding that was available, and whatever little bit helps. And it's not so much the money, but it's just the fact that they will listen and they will give me advice. And like them and others have said, yes, I'm going back to it again, a second at a time. And that's how I'm able to maintain. I'll be 85 in December, and I want to be 105. So needless to say, and Maria just spoke. I don't know if you have any other questions, Maria, but you've been a godsend. You've been a help.
Thank you so much. Thank
Be
you.
the first- I'll be the first to say it. I don't take anything for granted, but doggone it. Oh, okay. So Pen, before this is over, you're going to see my beautiful baby of 66 years. Okay, she's right here. Hey, Pansy. No, I'm not even going to do it. I'm not going to wake her up now. I don't want to do that to her. I don't want to put her on the spot. But with this Alzheimer's, you just never know, okay? Because we're not having conversations like you and I are having conversations, but I'll be damned if she walk up and say, hey, baby, thank you so much, okay? Or in the morning when I get her up and get her together and I'm combing her hair, say, baby. And that gets to me, and I'm not a wuss, or I'm not a sentimental person per se, but those are some of the things. And so any way that I could help anyone on this journey, I'm in it to win it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Winston Green. We are very grateful to have you on the study. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. That was just wonderful. And also just getting to see you and hear you speak about your experience is great. Maria shared your podcast episode that you did with me, and it's just hearing about all that you and Pansy have gone through. It's wonderful. So thank you again for connecting us and for being willing to participate with us in the study, and for making this connection today.
And let me tell you one thing. That's a saving grace. That podcast, and I know the sisters have, and some of the others have heard it. It's been a year. It's been a year, and the saving grace is that she is as stable now as she was then. Even though with this disease in 12 years, things, it ain't the same. It doesn't remain the same. But I'm still able to be her sole caregiver. Get somebody over here for a little help. Give me a little respite time. I don't want to be no hero and then drop dead. But just to say that I'm not stuck on stupid. So I know what I need to do, and I'm doing it. And I'm repeating, that podcast was a year old. And if anyone hasn't heard it or want to hear it, I am proud to say, glad that I had the words, and that it might help you or anyone in the journey that we're all on.
That's
okay.
beautiful. Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
Ms. Foley, I see we have a hand up. I'm going to switch over the slide while I let you unmute.
Just a quick question. For eligibility, does this include, like, my husband's only been diagnosed with MCI, but I know it's advancing. So I want to know, is he eligible? Are we eligible for the study?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking it. Unfortunately, for this study, not. We're only looking at people who've actually progressed past MCI into dementia. We will be recruiting for a little while. Who knows what the future holds? But for right now, unfortunately, your husband wouldn't be eligible. But thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Please.
First, I have a comment. I want to say I met Winston and Pansy when they first started, and I've been a caregiver myself and a support group facilitator. But Winston is an example of why I keep telling people you've got to participate, to be able to go through through this journey. And USC, and this is where part of my question comes in. Are you separate from the Caregiver Resource Center at USC? So are you, like I say, separate, or are you in addition? Because that program too, along with what you all offer, definitely helps make this journey something that you continue. I, like Winston, we did it for 12 years with 3 different family members.
Mm.
A lot. So the Caregiver Resource Center at USC, hopefully it's something that everyone is familiar with. Maybe Maria or Liz, if one of you have the link to that, you could drop it in the chat as we go. But so they're wonderful partners of ours. We're not part of them. We have a lot of ties with them. Dr. Donna Benton over there is a longtime colleague and wonderful friend. They do the applied work with helping to provide services and resources and supports to the caregivers. What we do on our side is kind of on the flip side, the research and the knowledge generation that helps to establish and lay the foundation for some of the tools that they provide. We've done some collaborations with them before, but for this project, it is something separate and in addition to what they provide.
So someone can then participate on both sides.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. And what we're doing here, I just want to be really, really clear about it. We're not providing resources through this study to you. As Maria mentioned, we have a list of resources that we do give to people.
I will start marketing my business.
So we do have a list of resources that we provide with people at the end when they're done with the study. But the purpose of the study is not to provide resources or recommendations, counseling, things like that. Unfortunately, through this research study, we don't provide that. But hopefully you all are linked up with the Caregiver Resource Center at USC, so you have a different way of getting access to those types of resources. Any other questions before I move on? Okay. All right. So how can you help? How can you participate? We have this interest form that we have. Actually, if Maria or Liz, if one of you could get that into the chat as well. I was planning to do it, but I forgot to get it queued up. We do have this interest form. If you're one of the ones who is a zoomologist or similar and is well versed in using the web and all of that, you're welcome to click on that link and visit it, put your information in there. If you'd rather not do that, you can either give us a call or send us an email. The phone number is right there and our email address is right there too. So if anyone is interested in getting a hold of us but doesn't want to fill out that form, that's totally fine. Just give us a call, just reach out, and we would love to have a chance to talk with you. We would love it if you're up for sharing this information with your family, your friends, your community. We're taking all comers, anyone who is providing care to someone with dementia. We would love to chat with them, find out about their experience, and make sure that we can include that in the information that's going to come out of our study. And if you are going to participate in the study, if you are interested in that, there are a couple of related opportunities, some opportunities in addition to the initial basic interviews that we're doing every 6 months. Liz Avent is actually doing, she's the lead on one of those opportunities, and I'll give her a chance to talk with you all a bit about that right now.
So I am doing a study using, if you want to talk more, and if you're someone who is caring for your husband, wife, a current partner, an ex-partner, I would like to talk to you more about, your experience, more looking at the relationship over time and asking about some other past experience that you had that may impact how your caregiving experience, how your relationship is with the person that you're caring for currently. And so I'll basically, is more of a interview where I let you talk more. I'll ask a couple, like a question or two, and just let you freely talk to me more about it, maybe ask you some more questions to get more information. My granddad has dementia currently, and my grandma has actually been caring for him for 2 years. Currently, she's also a pastor, so I have asked her questions, and one of the things she did tell me that was the hardest thing that she had to do in her life. So I'm very interested in learning more about the caregiving experience of particularly people who are married or have a partner, live with a partner, has a partner but doesn't live with them. So all of those are fine. But definitely, if you participate in the main study and you're interested in talking more, you'll get referred to me or I'll reach out to you.
How can someone reach you, Liz?
So if you're enrolled in this Better Together study, and I can reach out to you, I'll have your contact information, and I'll actually more than likely reach out to you and ask if you want to participate. But if you do express to Zach or Maria that you want to do that as well, they can connect you to me. They have my email address. And I'm also on, I think we have a phone number that's connected to the study once for participants. So then I'll also have that number as well.
So it's only for people who are in this study that then they can connect with you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the way that Liz's study was set up was so our study's funded by the National Institutes of Health. They're the ones who are giving us the ability to do this research. And Liz's study, they funded as a part of it, but it really does have to be with people who are involved in the main study. Just to provide a little bit more clarification, then I'm going to come over to you, Ms. Foster. So for our main study, the one that I've been talking about mostly, it is more structured, more question and answer, whereas Liz's study is much more open-ended, as she was saying. So much more of her asking some initial questions and wanting to hear you talk a whole bunch. So yeah, Ms. Foster, please.
So, hi, thank you guys for being here. My name is Asante, and I'm a caregiver to my grandfather. And just to also share this too, Alzheimer's has plagued my family tree, both grandmothers, great aunts, great uncles. Grandfather was diagnosed summer 2020, and I was like, okay, I grew up with this, I'm familiar with this. So it was, easy to say yes to doing this. But for your study, Zach, the Better Together, are you only looking for like care partners or caregivers in general? And I'm also a sandwich caregiver. So I'm taking care of my teenage daughter and my, grandfather who has Alzheimer's.
That's a whole lot. Those sandwich caregiving situations are no joke. So we are interested in both care partners and caregivers, basically anyone who is in a position providing that care, regardless of their relationship with the person they're caring for, whether it's a spousal or daughter or a cousin or what have you, or a friend. We're interested in all of it. So yeah, we would be very happy to talk with you.
Okay, so question. And this may be a dumb one, but I'm going to ask you. Could my daughter participate in this? Because she too is also a caregiver. I mean, she's 13, but from her perspective, it is just amazing how she's looking at caregiving for my grandfather.
Oh, I love
Her
that.
great grandfather.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I was so excited about it until you said the 13 part. I would love to talk with her, but we legally aren't able to talk to people under 18 just because of how the agreeing to participate processes are set up. I really want to hear what's going on from her perspective now.
I was going to say, if you wanted to talk more about talk to us about how your daughter does see caregiving and what she does, then that's also fine too. We would definitely love to know more about that. We just can't talk to her directly.
No, I totally understand that, because this isn't also her first rodeo. I mean, she was there when both of my grandmothers, her great grandmothers, died, and one of them died, both died from Alzheimer's. One of them died on her birthday.
Oh gosh.
Right.
I'm sure that's impacting every birthday she has after that too, isn't it?
She was a bit younger then,
that's good.
But it has definitely impacted me because, she knew them as great grandmothers, right? So for her, they were always old. Where for me, yes, they were old, but I saw them change. where they were really super active grandparents until, hospice.
Yeah, big life changes, huge life
Right.
changes.
Where she has only seen hospice with them. So for her, that's all she knows. And just to hear her perspective and how she took it, she was in one of the rooms when my maternal grandmother died. And I'm like, how are you, there? What do you feel about this? I've never even experienced that. So it's very interesting to hear how she perceives all of this.
Yeah. Well, like Liz was saying, we would definitely love to hear the details of your perspectives on her experience. If you'd be up for joining our study, we would really, really value that.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that's pretty much all that we were planning to chat with you about today.
This
if there are
is
any
an
other
awesome study, Zach. Thank you for sharing with us. We're definitely, we always close out in prayer. We're going to be praying about that you get ample participants so that you're able to do the research so that you can help to provide or reduce, as you said, the negative health impacts of the caregiving situations. I did have a question. Early on, you mentioned care partner versus caregiver. You kind of said it really quickly, but are you saying that the term is changing? I didn't quite get what you were saying there.
I'm sorry, yeah, I glossed over that. My apologies. So the term, I think, is, I would say we're using both terms more freely now. Some people still like the term caregiver. For some people, the term caregiver doesn't feel quite right to them because it's not that they don't view it as them giving the care, they view it more as a partnership. So for some people, they shy away from the term caregiver and they prefer to hear care partner. So we try to be more inclusive in the language we use to be open to both terms, to both words.
So when you say we, is just USC in your study, or I'm just trying to figure out in general, are we going to be hearing more, sometimes terms do change over time. And so this is the first time I've ever heard care partner. I was just trying to understand, is this just your study or is this in general?
Yeah, I've been hearing it more and more in general. That's why we started to adopt it in our study. I don't, like you said, terms change. I don't know if maybe this is going to be a fad term that's going to go away in a couple of months or years, or if it's here to stay. Time will tell. But yeah, you might start hearing care partner more and more to describe the relationship between the people who are providing the care and the people, their loved ones. So we'll see.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Mr. Green, looks like you have something else.
One thing that I wanted to say, only because I am part of the study, that this is not just a one-shot deal. I mean, there'll be 1 or 2 researchers which will interview me every 6 months over a year and a half. And there'll be a total of 4 interviews. So that makes it good. So I'm repeating, it's not just hit and miss. And so I'm looking forward to my second interview. It'll be in a matter of months. But there's so much with this disease, even though it's slow, as I've been saying all along with my experience, which may be different from other experiences, but at the same time, we could talk more on what's going on a quarterly basis. And I find that very, very good, because in the past 12 years, I haven't, with support groups, which are so different, been involved with something like this, which is research, which I could help and they could help me. I just wanted to end up with that.
Thank you, sir. Really, really appreciate it. All right. Well, I know we're at our time and I don't want to overstep. So thank you also so much for allowing us to be here today. I'm very excited to stick around. I appreciate the invitation for us to continue to listen.
Yes, absolutely. You're more than welcome. Thank you for being here.
Zach, what we'll do, and I have to clear this with the Zoomologist, is we usually at the end of our meetings, we send out what's called an information and recap. So this will go out to our people on our email distribution list. So We hope that you'll get more that way. We thank you guys for coming. And if you'd like to get back again with us, just shoot us an email. We were very grateful to have you with the ACT support group.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you again so much, Sharon.
Pleasure. And you're welcome to stay, as we've said, if you'd like.
Thank you.
Okay.
Zach, if you are able to send me that deck, I can include that as well. It's in the video, but in case somebody doesn't look at the video and they can click through the deck, I can
Absolutely.
add that as well.
I'll send it over right now. Thanks, Kimberly.
Thank you.
Everybody needs a Zoomologist.
A good one.
A good one. You can't have ours. Okay. I think I see where Brian.
Yeah,
was
he did.
on.
He's on,
Okay.
sister.
Okay. Thank you, darling.
So Dr. Gaines, you have joined and let me stop the recording. 1 second.
Thank you. He said he couldn't be recorded.